You know exactly when you see it, an aha moment, when everything finally clicks and the path ahead is obvious. That Eureka! Is especially important to entrepreneurs. We asked some startup founders about their aha moments, and there's a common thread across all industries. Encounter a problem, work out a solution.
I think the key thing is just like the problem we saw in the market.
I was really fascinated with the problem.
Started realizing that pretty much everybody has that problem. There's not really like a great solution out there.
My co-founder and I thought, there's got to be a better way to do this.
Let's see if we can't provide a solution that all of us can use.
So we just had to ask, what was your aha moment? And maybe more importantly, how did you get there?
I was really lucky to have an amazing education. I'm a lawyer by background, so I went straight from college into graduate school and essentially realized as soon as I started working that despite all of that education, I never actually learned a lot of the practical real world things that you need to know to be successful when you get out there, and just made a ton of mistakes across everything from my own finances to my own healthcare and insurance and all of that. Started realizing that pretty much everybody has that problem. There's not really like a great solution out there to just help you navigate life as an adult. We built this platform essentially to kind of close the gap and to really serve as almost like a one-stop shop or GPS for the successful, thriving young adults.
Years ago, my co-founder Kevin and I, we saw this kind of need that, being able to manage stormwater right where it falls was going to be like, if you could figure that out, you were going to solve a huge pain point.
I was really fascinated with the problem that I found or perceived that surrounded the built environment, that our buildings and their operations are responsible for 40% of our carbon footprint and energy consumption.
We started researching it. We saw that there were permeable pavements in the world. Like that was a technology that had been developed. But the more we looked into it, there were some real material limitations. And it really had to do with the fact that they clogged up very quickly.
I started looking at ways that we could solve that problem using materials that stored carbon dioxide or were less CO2 heavy, had less embodied energy to go into them. And that was when I found out about a building method primarily used in Europe called hemp lime or hempcrete, as it's more commonly referred to, that uses a combination of the wooden core of the hemp stalk and lime, and thought, wow, what an incredible opportunity that we're missing here.
It's been a long, tedious journey of R&D to get to this point, but that's really how it all started, is just finding a better way to provide a functional pavement surface that could be driven on, walked on, parked on, but also solve the stormwater problem right there. That's kind of how it all started.
And over the years, we've dramatically, changed and morphed and kind of grown into the company that we are today. In that period of growth, we really were focusing on creating, sort of proof of concept, prototype building projects, and really building one house at a time.
The idea came during the summer of 2020 as COVID had shut down most of the country, as I'm sure you're familiar with. The US election cycle was in full gear, and misinformation was really rampant across social media and the internet in general. So we saw that while working at Google, and we started thinking, okay, one, why is there so much misinformation? Why is it spreading so rapidly? And why is this allowed to happen? Because since we were working at Google, we were pretty confident that it wasn't an issue of technology or resources, but there must have been like some underlying incentive behind that. So as we dove deeper into the problem, we realized that it's all about the ad-based business model.
So then became a question of like, okay, how can you tackle that kind of core underlying issue? So the way we saw it is we have to flip the business model to align ourselves better with our customers. So like ad-based business model obviously is serving advertisers. We needed a business model that would serve our end users. So we decided to go with a subscription model. Our only incentive is to provide them with the best possible experience. So like, rather than, hiring PhDs in CS and like spending millions or billions on like ad targeting technologies, we can reallocate all that to like, okay, what can we do better for the user? Like what features can we give them? What cool content creation capabilities can we give them in the future? Whether it's like AR, VR, whatever it may be. And the focus all becomes of like giving the user a better experience.
I was a college professor managing my life, got into some financial trouble, as many of us do. I ended up getting sued. I quickly realized I couldn't afford a lawyer, but I felt like I had some good defenses to the claim. Thought I could figure it out on my own. Well, I realized it's way too complex for the average person to deal with, or even someone with the educational advantages I had. I got my butt kicked very quickly. I realized during those experiences that there were a whole lot of people handling issues much more serious than I was handling who just didn't have a chance. They didn't even understand what was happening to them.
Well, I've been in cybersecurity for 20 years, and if you look at everything that's out there, all of the point products focus on the enterprise. So those bigger, larger companies, and that's great. But there are small businesses, small and medium-sized companies that can't afford what's out there, or they would never be able to hire a very large security team to be able to maintain those products.
We had the opportunity to go work with a nonprofit and go travel around the world, basically teaching computer science and robotics camps. And then as a teacher, even we found it was very difficult to find engaging tools that kids liked that were useful so that they could learn computer science and robotics or learn technical skills, as well as learn creativity and problem solving in a way that was cost effective, a way that was easy, a way that was fun, a way that was intuitive.
People get to an aha moment. This happened also to my wife of 20 years, who is a PhD librarian. So we sort of had separate tracks, and we realized at some point, we got to do something about this. We're both educators. We both learned to navigate the system ourselves. Let's stop just going to court and watching these people get screwed and see if we can't provide a solution that all of us can use.
Kind of been in the back of my brain for like 10 years. And then when I exited Duo as CIO, I decided life's short. Why not try being a founder and starting my own company?
So we went back to the United States and just asked the teachers that we had what tools they had used, so maybe we could better, maybe we're not using something correctly. And they even admitted that there's not a lot of affordable, easy to use curriculum that focused on creativity and problem solving. That's when Siddharth and I decided to go make it. So we teamed up with our third co-founder and we created Trashbots. And then since then, Trashbots has obviously grown immensely. It's really crazy to see how the sort of vision that we had back in high school is now really starting to take form as we've graduated and we've gotten older.
We've gathered that each Eureka is tailor-made to the person discovering it. It can sneak up on you, it can hit you like a brick, it can be a bit of both. The key seems to be acting upon it. Even if you don't go out and file your operating agreement the next day, at least taking note of what you felt and what that path ahead looks like will keep that momentum going.